1, 2, 3, 4.
Ladies and gentlemen, this episode of the Mudblood podcast is brought to you, as always, by our friends at Manscaped, the leading people, the head honchos, top of the goddamn table in shaving your back, sack, and crack. Well, not your back, but your sack and your crack. You want your balls smooth, you want your dick soft, you want it, a nice wee soft dick, no hair on it for the winter months. Manscaped.com. You know the drill. You know what I'm going to tell you, but I have to tell you, contractually, Mudblood, 20% off your order. You get the Lawnmower 4.0, you get the ball toner, you get the ball deodorant. I think you now get a ball conditioner. You literally could not do more for your balls. Look after your balls, look after yourself. Manscaped.com, Mudblood, 20% off. The code is Mudblood. Do not type Mudblood, 20% off. Manscaped.com, Mudblood, and you get 20% off.
What are you using for your back then? Do you get much back hair yourself?
I'm a very hairless man, apart from my beard. I'm like a wee mole rat. Did you ever see Kim Possible? Do you remember Rufus?
Rufus, yeah.
Yeah, that's my dick.
Whereas, what did you call the guy that was in the TV? The wee simp that done all the work for Kim
fuck
Possible?
it. Oh, Roland? Not Roland. I know who you mean.
Whatever he was a wee salo that fucking sat and done all Kim Possible's work for him.
Yeah,
Didn't
yeah.
get paid a penny.
Oh, what was his name? No. That's annoying me now. Yeah. We're also sponsored by the Hinch Distillery, not Kim Possible. Hinch Distillery. Check them out on thehinchdistillery.com. Amazing whiskey. It's delicious. It's local. Give it a shout. Try it out. If you try it out, you're helping out the podcast. Thank you very much. And also, don't forget, subscribe to the Patreon. You get a bonus episode every week. You also get access to the two, never mind the mock blame recordings, which will gross. Also, the future ones will also be up on the Patreon. There's loads of extra shit on there. About 2 years worth of content. So many extra episodes. Check it out and enjoy this week's episode with the legendary Martin Moore.
Welcome to the mid-conversation. Mid-conversation. We're joined tonight. I'm Paddy McDonald, obviously, and we have
William Thompson.
Well, I am Thompson. But we're joined tonight by a guy who I've gigged with many a time. Absolutely brilliant on the comedy scene. A long time. I hope you don't mind me saying that.
A long time indeed, yeah.
It's Martin Moore.
Hello. Am I looking in there?
Yeah.
Hello.
So Martin's here. Martin, the last time I was gigging with you we were doing the TV programme in the Empire.
Yes.
And
Secrets of the Comedy Circuit.
Secrets of the Comedy Circuit. And it was mad for me to see you going from your set, and then you'd done like enough just for them to use for TV, and then you just turned into Mark Moore for me again.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck me, why come on that show Martin away is? Do you know what I mean?
Because that thing of them they wanted 15 minutes clean, didn't they?
Yeah.
Or for UTV, so they wanted it to be clean, and it feels like somebody's fucking strangling. Are we allowed to swear on this?
Oh,
It feels like somebody's fucking strangling you, doesn't it? It feels like you're on there.
Know what you were like? The only way I could describe it was as if somebody had a cracking fierce dog, and they had it on a lead, and it was really well behaved, and then all of a sudden it just fucking went mental, and I was like, that's what annoys me about the TV work, because it doesn't show the act for what they are,
and it's so hard to show. Anyway,
yeah,
like it's so hard to show live comedy. Anyway,
amazing. Yeah, like I think you done the Best of Irish with me in the Stand, and fuck, I mean, you just warmed up. I went on after you. I done a couple of them, and the one I went on after you was fucking brilliant. It was like a breath of fresh air for me, because the other ones were really nice or something, and then I went on, and it was sort of like the tone had already been set, and the room was a bit cold, but then you went on that day for me, and I went on after, and I had the best gig I had in the Stand out of the whole thing, because
I think the thing that somebody, so there's an English comedian called Justin Moorhouse.
Yeah.
Do you know him? Do you know Justin? He's been around for years. He's really good at it.
He was in Peter Kay's Phoenix Nights.
Phoenix Nights he was.
Yeah.
And Justin said a brilliant thing. He said, if you've only seen comedy on TV or in an arena, you've never seen comedy.
You've never seen live
and
comedy.
that's right, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nowhere near as good.
It's what I say to people, you need to see it live. And the many people that go to my shows and go, that's the first time I've seen comedy live. I can't believe how good it is.
Yeah.
And they go and see it and they're like, we can't believe how good you all are. Like, or, you know, say it's a couple of us from just the podcast and stuff like that, and they come and see the show, and they genuinely sit you down and go, we can't believe how good that is.
Yeah, I think the thing of the TV thing, that people think that's like the benchmark, when we know that's they'd be better if you seen them not on TV.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah.
Completely.
I had a boy say to me one time, so I live in England near Halifax.
Sorry to hear
England.
that.
Yeah.
And
Halifax, by the way, ladies and gentlemen.
Halifax is a...
Tickets still on sale.
Willie had a show in Halifax, and I was like,
This has been unreal.
What were they in?
Why Halifax? Like, why randomly Halifax?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Just trying to see where
I'm
I
really
can sell. I
kicking
can tell you now, it's not Halifax.
what room are you doing there?
Fuck. I don't even know.
Look it up.
I'll look it up. Yeah,
Let
you
me
two
know.
carry on. I'll
I'll
join
tell you
you
if it's
and
any
stuff.
good.
When it came up on this poster,
Square Chapel.
Ah, yeah, it's beautiful.
Lovely.
Yeah,
Sweet,
brilliant. It's proper
sweet.
wee
I
arts
just
in there.
pointed at it.
Nice.
It was like Halifax. You know, like I stayed in Luton, didn't do a show in Luton. You know, there's a reason why.
Yeah.
I did do a show in Luton. It was really nice. It was actually really nice.
Was it?
It was in some art centre. It was actually fucking dead on.
Was it?
Yeah. And I didn't think
Many in?
about 30,
Yeah.
which isn't amazing.
Not
but
for going to Luton.
No. But it was worth it. It was nice.
Was
like.
it?
I made my money back in the end. like,
Right,
so,
okay.
you know what I mean, if you're a cheap cunt like me and will sleep anywhere,
Yeah.
100%
Yeah.
you
Listen,
become
I can
homeless.
say now, I done Leicester Square Theatre and got £18.
Right. £18.
£18. And I brought the support act from here, put him up in the hotel, paid him a good wage, and I was like, wow, we're great. You know, we've sold 200 tickets, and then it was like, oh no, you need to sell more than that in Leicester Square Theatre because we'll just take all your money.
Yeah.
£18. I couldn't believe it. My agent took it for £4.
Fuck off.
I went mad. So I got £14.35 for doing Leicester Square Theatre.
There's a lot of my
I'll
tours
never,
that I'm
I'll
like,
never do it
everybody
again.
Yeah, yeah. You know when people do that thing, they say, oh, you like a prestigious theatre.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, fuck it.
I done 21 Soho, which is down the street,
Yeah.
and it was fucking amazing.
Was it? Yeah.
And they nearly give me all the money because they made so much in the beer. So, you know, it's one of them ones you're going literally down the street
Yeah.
and just as nice a fucking venue.
Well, if you get the prestige, instead of prestigious theatre, a prestigious audience. If you get the good audience,
Yeah.
Doesn't
don't
matter where the
whether-
fuck it is.
Yeah, it doesn't. Don't matter.
100%.
Yeah.
So
But
that's my take on
I'm
it.
sure in the many years you've been doing it, you've had some fucking unbelievably brutal gigs as well.
Yeah, do you know, I'll be honest. Everybody always says that, don't
Yeah.
they, about stand-up. And especially now that I've sort of come from that older scene
Yeah.
as well. So I was on the end of the working men's clubs and then
Yes.
in the start of the alternative scene.
Yeah.
I was like a comedy juggler at the start and then a stand-up. But in honesty, I've never really had that many bad gigs. Like, so I've been at bad gigs, but you can get something from them.
Yes.
And I've never been at any really, maybe 3 or 4 totally unplayable.
Yeah.
Yeah, rooms you just
unplayable
walk
gigs.
into and you go, this isn't fucking working.
But I think also maybe we had a different level. So I remember one time doing a gig in Manchester, Frog and Bucket in
Yes.
Manchester, and there was a new bar manager, and after I'd been a rough night, and the boy said to me afterwards, he goes, "I'm really sorry that was such a rough night," and I went, like, "Well, sure, they weren't throwing anything," and he went, "Is that your cut-off point if they throw things?" And I was going, No, to be serious, no.
Joking about it. Yeah. Do you know, in 12 years, 13 years, I have to say, like, there's probably a handful of gigs that I would say, too. Like, you know, it's not...
You remember them, though?
Yeah.
Like
No,
when
you
they're
completely
in your
remember
head,
them.
like?
You completely remember them.
Yeah.
But a lot of people won't realise, but you're from over here. Isn't that
Coleraine.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Coleraine, of all places. And what was it like growing up in Coleraine? Like,
It was all right, yeah.
Yeah.
It was all right. So I'm 60 now, and I probably left Coleraine in my late teens. And but yeah, it was actually all right. You never knew that it was such a nice part of the world because you were just used to it, you know, like
Yeah.
the Giants. You never went to Giants Causeway or
It was
than
on your
any of
doorstep,
that.
but sure, it wasn't. Yeah.
Pay no
Yeah, fuck
attention
it, I'll
to
go,
it.
yeah.
It was all right. It was all right. It was,
Well,
yeah.
you have these people coming from all over the world to go and see it.
Innit?
Like I done the tours in the taxi, and I had this Chinese couple, right, and they get in the taxi from the cruise ship. And he was like, Causeway. And I was like, right, no problem. Causeway, we'll take you, Causeway. But he's just Causeway, right? And I was like, do you want to go to coast or do you want to go straight Causeway? And I was like, right. So I bombed clean up through Armagh, bypassed the whole Causeway coast.
Right.
Because I always felt, see if you got a good day, see on the way back, you had to have them back to the ship for like 7:30. So on the way down, it was always better. It was always better to bring them down when the sun's setting, and it was beautiful because in the morning, most of the times you went up the coast, it would have had like mist and you never seen Scotland and stuff like that. So we straight up the Causeway anyway, and the next minute he came up and he was shouting and throwing stuff, and he had this poster, and I was going, I don't talk Chinese, I'm sorry, what's the matter? So I had to go into the visitor centre, and they were like, hold on, we'll get somebody. So they phoned up. Next minute, a girl came out, she was translating, and she was like, he says that we're all taking him on, Ireland, Northern Ireland, tourist board, taxi men, everyone's taking him on. And I was like, what? So he pulled out this poster that was distributed by the Irish Tourism Board in China, and when you folded it out, it made it look like an amphitheatre. So he walked down to get this picture of this amphitheatre, and it wasn't. It was just the way they made it look.
Right.
So he went down, and it was just one collection of rocks. He was like, no. So he came up and he was going to me, you have to bring me to where this is. And I'm going, that doesn't exist. And then he was like, you're all ripping me off. And he was like, I'm not paying you. And I'm like, you're not getting back to the fucking boat. His translator's going, I can't say that to him. I mean, you should fucking can. You tell him. If he doesn't fucking pay up, he's not going back to the boat. He'll stay in fucking Ballycastle or something. And it was a whole, like, loads of things happened to me. The second one was a guy from Luxembourg who was huge and even, like, he was the full size of the back seat of the taxi, and his wife had to sit in the front. And he's two big fucking massive fat legs. And we get up till the Causeway, and he went down the hill, and I'm sitting there, and all the other guys are coming up, and they're like, yeah, you flew up. And I always go straight up and then bring them down the coast on the way back. And everybody was coming back up, getting in the taxis and going, no saying to your man. And I'm like, where the fuck's your man? And then I went into the visitor centre. He says, look, the people in my taxi went down, and I haven't come back up again. They went, were they from Luxembourg? And I went, yeah, how'd you know? And they went, did you not see the helicopter?
No way.
And I was like, well, he took a heart attack at the bottom of the hill.
Fuck.
And I was like, what the fuck? So you were on the phone, and then it turned out his wife was still in the Causeway hospital, and then they flew him to the RVH. And she wasn't allowed to go on the thing, so I went and got her and then brought her to there, and then had to go to the boat for her to get the passports off.
And got your fare off.
Yes, yeah. Who do you chase? Yeah.
See when you're in there.
Sorry about your
get
husband,
the
but
passports.
it's 72 quid.
Do you know what? They actually really paid me well for everything that I done, because I stayed with her and went to the hospital and all, and all that. But you had all these people coming from everywhere. Like
He walked down that
He
hill?
walked down the hill and took a heart attack, and he was just too big of a man. He should have got the bus, but apparently he
What
couldn't
comes
wait.
takes a heart attack downhill?
Listen, it's just as hard being that heavy going downhill, because you have to try and stop yourself from getting
Fucking
pulled down.
rolling down, yeah. Fair enough, then.
You know what I mean? So
I one time in the 80s, I was in America, and I went to the Grand Canyon, and me and a couple of other lads went down, and then we ran back up to get the sunset, because the thing you want to sun. And as we were coming back up, there was massive, big, fat American people still going down.
And this was in the 80s when it was like a novelty to be that fucking...
But they were big people, right? And they were going down. And I said to a park ranger fella at one point, what happens to them people there to come up in the dark? It'll be hard to come up. I go, what do you do about them? He goes, were they adults? And I go, yeah. And he goes, just leave them.
America's that way. Like, they don't, here people would like hold people back and stuff. In America, they see somebody in the bridge, they go, fucking jump, you can't do it. And you're like, I've never seen anything like that, but it is that culture. London has that culture too, I think.
London?
Yeah,
maybe. It's about, doesn't give a fuck, London.
People are just like,
London's very much, I am late for work. Get out of the fucking road, like.
I seen that in London. I remember seeing that on the tube. And they went, the train's delayed because at the previous station somebody's jumped onto the train. And I thought, oh God, that's terrible. I look around. You look around, people are looking at their watches.
I talked about it on here.
Looks like take over someone's head for
I
fuck's
talked
sake.
about it here. I was on an overground one time. I was working over there on the sites, and I got on with my toolbox, and there was a guy with a wheelchair, and I was apologising. He was going, "You're all right, mate. You're all right." And then he says, "I'm getting off in the next 2 stops anyway." And we pulled up, and you know when they're on a wheelchair, there has to be somebody waiting at the station then to put the ramp down, and they weren't there. So the guy was like, "Oh fuck, what? I can't stay on. You know, that's where I'm meant to be." So I stood in front of the door, and they were going to kill me on the train. The people were like, "Fucking get away from the doors!" And I was like, "No, I'm waiting until they bring somebody." And they're like, "Fucking, we're gonna be," and they were going to kill me on. I was going to take a hammer out and just stand there. But I was like, "This guy's in a wheelchair. What do you want to do? End up in Southampton?" Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just.
Yeah.
And they were like, "We don't give a fuck." And I'm like, "The man's in a wheelchair." And it was just, I couldn't believe it. And they were looking at me like, "Are you insane, you fucking Irish
What
man?"
about if that boy? What about if that guy in a wheelchair just ends up at the last stop?
But that's what I mean.
Everywhere.
And he still
Every
can't-
time he gets on
and
the
he
train,
can't get off.
can't get off.
You know, he's just stuck on the train.
Do you know you wee woman Tanya Lee Davis?
Yes, I know, Tanya.
Yeah, so she's dwarfism, isn't she? So she's really
Yes.
wee. She's a good comedian. And she rides around in a wee scooter thing. And a few times she's come and stayed at my house. And me and her had written it actually. We tried to do a pitch for a TV programme based in Ireland, going around in Ireland. But they often wouldn't help her with that scooter thing on the train. And loads of times she ended up stuck on the train, just
At the wrong stops, no.
missing a gig
But
because she couldn't get off the train.
That's fucking insane.
I used to do the taxis here with wheelchairs and stuff like that, so like I know what it would have been like for people, you know. But there was this one guy I used to pick up in the wheelchair, and he was fucking huge, and he used to get really drunk, and he used to go for pizza every night, and sometimes you picked him up, and you could just hear him in the back of the taxi, and he was covered in sick, like, and the battery didn't work in his chair. His battery died, so he obviously got drunk. He was out too long. His battery died, and we were trying to take him out manually out of the thing, and it was like, no, in your head you're going, "I'll be able to do this."
And the wheels are like locked and shit because it's electric.
No, there's a release thing. But do you ever try and hold like something that's 30 stone with wheels? It's really hard. Like I've tried to hold a car back from going down a hill, and it's really hard. This guy's coming down the ramps, and I'm slipping down the ramps, and I'm going, the ramps are just going to go apart here, and he's just going to come out of this. And then I went, well, he's already fucked. There's not much more damage. He's must have had his head or something. So I was going, take your jumper off. If his head goes down the ground, just do that. But he's already fucked. Like, you can't paralyze him anymore. And it was just, he was just covered in sick and fucking halfway
That's
down
the worst bit about the sick. If he
I
comes
know.
off over you,
I know. I was covered like. The other time, I had a girl, she wet herself, and I had to lift her into the house. I was completely covered in her piss, like. It was just...
Oh,
I fell out of a taxi puking once. Coming up from Portrush, coming up from Kelly's one night when we would have been young, we'd have been like 17 or something, and my mate started being sick out of
Made
one
you sick?
window, and it made me sick, and I fell out, and it was only doing about 30, but because you're drunk enough.
Oh, so you were hanging out the window and you fell out
No,
the
I
actual
fell
way?
out the door. I opened the door to try and be sick, and then just fell out the taxi.
it turns. I remember working in a nightclub, and you'd be constantly picking up people who have been sick in secret, like in the corner of the room or under shit. I remember in the bathroom one time, someone had left a cup beside the toilet. I was like, alright, empty drink or whatever. Picked it up. There was just a full shite in a cup. And because I didn't think it was anything, I just lifted it up, and it just spilled over my hand. And because like that, the smell of it was that I just boat then over my hand, so my hand was just covered in like shite.
So it was
and
a
milk.
chocolate ice
Shit in
cream and
the-
you just covered
How
it
would they
in
shit in a
sprinkles.
cup?
I don't know if they had, like, you know, thought it was funny and shit in the cup or shit in the toilet, and then did like a wee ice cream scoop. But all I know was there was a shite. See, when my arm was dripping with someone else's shite, I wasn't
Horrible.
going, now how did you get there? I was going, dirty fucking bastard.
That's
You know your
that's the
man-
kind of nightclubs that you get in East Belfast. You know what I mean?
This was city centre now, Patrick. We've come a long way.
You know your man 50 Cent?
Yes.
You know he famously did the Reading Music Festival and got bottled off. So he apparently walks on and he goes, and people are booing him and stuff because it's rap music at rock, what's mostly a rock event. And they're booing him and he says something like, "I've been shot motherfucking 9 times, you don't frighten me." And they just bottled him off. But Leeds and Reading have comedy tents. And for years and years I would do the comedy tents. So I turned up the day after. He must have done the Friday or the Saturday, and I must have come on the Saturday or Sunday. And I turned up the day after, and went round, and I was round the back talking to the crew. And I said, I heard your man got bottled off. And they went, yeah, when we tidied up, so it's bottles of piss, there was a bottle with a shit in it. Yeah. And he goes, somebody's pre-prepared, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like,
they were waiting for 50 cent. They were
How do you even shit in a
bottle? In a bottle, I know. That is crazy. Although I'm saying that, I could fill a bottle with shit.
It depends on the bottle.
Like the wee model boats in a bottle. Like the model boats that
And then you pull the seal up.
I think that's a very I don't know if it's a particularly English or it's a this neck of the woods type thing, chucking a bottle of piss.
Yeah.
Because I worked with Leeds, a Canadian act. There was a musical act, and he came and he just arrived in the country and he was friends of my friends, and he came and said, look, I was the host of the comedy tent, and he I was trying to be nice to him because he was my friend's friend, and he was about, I've done this and tell him I've done this and I've been on whatever. He's kind of bigging it up a bit. You go, well, maybe the boy's just overcompensating because he knows nobody and I'll be his mate and look after him. And anyway, he goes to go on and I go, do you want anything special, anything? No, I've done loads of festivals, I've done this. I go, all right, I've done festivals like this. He goes, yeah, I've done loads of festivals like this. Okay, cool. I'll introduce you. And he'd got the sound man to play When the Saints Come Marching In.
Oh, fuck.
And he'd come on like this here, like you mind the way Madness used to walk like that? He came on like that, but all big North American teeth and all going, really zany. And just as he got to the mic, a bottle of piss hit him and soaked him. And I just thought,
welcome to Leeds, you bastard.
Yeah, you've never done a festival like this, mate. Never.
It's so bizarre because you even after you've done the piss, you still have to wait for the moment. You're still holding that bottle of piss for a minute, like. Oh, I fucking... Have you ever done that at a festival? Had to take a piss in the bottle? You strike me as the kind that absolutely would.
I wouldn't piss in the bottle. I would just piss where I am.
Aye.
Like, people... this is a thing we talk about. Like, at backstage sometimes, even in a theatre, I don't have time to go to the toilet. I'll piss in the curtains.
You've told me
I'll
this.
piss in the
You
corner.
piss in the curtains?
Piss in the curtains or piss in the corner. Like,
If they're them big fire curtains, they could probably absorb it, couldn't they?
That's why you only got 18 quid from Leicester School.
Yeah.
You were pissing on it?
You pissed out at the back. Yeah, but sometimes it happens. It doesn't happen all the time. But like I've talked about, I pissed myself on stage in front of a full audience.
Right.
We were doing this thing in the barge. You ever play the barge in Belfast?
I don't think so.
It's a wee barge, wee boat
Oh, no, I
attached
definitely
onto the
haven't.
side of the waterfront hall, right?
It's beside the big blue fish. Like right beside that.
And right beside the waterfront hall.
Big blue fish.
Right, so there was the thing in there, and I wrote these sketches for BBC NI, and they were going to do it as a radio pilot, and they brought this guy from BBC Radio 4, and he came over and he was like, right, this is the way we do it, right, we do it like this here, really fucking, this is great, buddy, I fucking love this, right? And he was like, can we get 5 of the best actors? And they got all these actors off TV from here and stuff. And it was a brilliant night. But you get on the boat and you go right to the back where the stage is. The toilets are out that way, so you have to go through the audience. And he was like, bring yourself down a drink. And I was like, right, so I just went to the off license and just bought the cheapest box of beer. It was Carlsberg. And I'm sitting there, no, because you're nervous. And my mouth was dry. I was just drinking them. And I went, fuck, I need to go to the toilet. And he went, where are you going? The toilet. And he went, no, you sit there. If something happens, we need you to run on and do this. And I was like, right, I nearly need to go to the toilet. And he's like, no, fuck. He made me sit through all the sketches. There was no break. There was no nothing. And then he went, quick, get up on stage. And when I stood up to go on stage, I was like, I can't hold this anymore. And I was wearing this big dark blue jacket, dark blue trousers, and these leather boots that my mum bought. She bought me and my dad the same pair. And I just started pissing. And I was just looking at the audience and I was like, they all know what I'm doing here. I am so embarrassed. So I started laughing. No, that nervous laugh. And the audience started laughing. And then your man from BBC Radio 4 had this big laugh. And he was like, ah! And I came off. He was like, that was fucking unbelievable. I've never seen anybody just make the audience laugh by fucking laughing. And I was like, oh, if you knew what I was fucking doing. I was laughing. And then it got to the stage where I realised nobody knows what I'm doing here. And I just finished. But I completely filled the boots. And there was only like a couple of bits that came out, obviously the laces and stuff, right? And the sound guy at the end of the night was like, there's a couple of bits of fucking water on that stage. I don't know where it's from. And I went, I fucking do. But I couldn't get a taxi because it was completely soaked. So I phoned my mum and my dad. Like, I didn't even phone my wife. I phoned my man and dad, and I was like, you need to come and get me. And they were
Mommy,
like,
I've pissed
I was
myself.
like, why? And I was like, because I fucking pissed
You need
myself.
to
And
come
she's
pick
like,
me up.
are you serious? And I'm like, yeah, 100%, but I
I
can't.
remember that.
Yeah,
I was in the house.
you were in the house. And I was like, you need to come and get me and bring a couple of towels. And
Can I get your side of the story there? What happened when he rings the house and he's like, I've pissed myself?
And my mummy was so happy because it was like, "Oh, mummy, son, you'll never outgrow your mummy."
But I have to say, it was the most brilliant feeling standing there pissing and nobody knew what I was doing. I have to say, I don't frequently do it or anything like that, but
It's not like your normal warm up or something.
but I have to say, it was great, the feeling of it. Like, I don't know if it was the greatness because I was holding it in that much, it was sore. But it was just a funny feeling, like standing there going, you have no idea what I'm fucking doing. But this is so fucking funny. And it was great.
The hinge sign fell behind you.
The hints fell.
Did you ever hear that story about Malcolm Hardy pissing on the guy at the gig?
No?
Did you know who Malcolm Hardy is?
No.
So
Yes.
Malcolm Hardy
Runs
was...
the Best of the Fringe.
No, so that's somebody else. I forget that boy's name. Malcolm Hardy was one...
Biscuit.
Malcolm Hardy was one of the original promoters of alternative comedy.
Okay.
He's passed away now. He's like a proper big character, big drinker, wild man. And he set up the Creek in Greenwich in London. That was his own
Up the creek, that's right.
club.
I know you're talking about.
And
no
he was
penguins.
forever dropping his trousers and getting his dick out and getting naked. He's a wild man. And one night in the gig, a guy's fallen asleep and he in the front row, and he goes to the guy, "If you fall asleep, I'm going to piss on you." And the guy fell asleep and he pissed on him.
I did piss on a guy.
Did he
in
wake up?
Scotland.
Oh, your signs off. He apparently only woke up when like the disco had started and he's all covered in piss.
He's like, what happened here?
It's there.
You know the story of the guy died in that club? Do you know this story?
No?
Died
So-
on stage.
No. So Malcolm's comparing, and it was in its day, it was notorious for hecklers because a lot of Millwall supporters used to go down, and it did used to be notorious for hecklers. And anyway, Malcolm's on stage. No, Lee Hurst is on stage, English comedian. Lee Hurst on stage. Guy in the audience takes a heart attack and dies, and paramedics have to come, and paramedics come. It's clear the guy's passed away. And so they've stopped the show and everything, and then they make a decision. We'll go on with the show. We'll get the guy out. We'll pretend nothing happened. We'll go on with the show. And then Malcolm was the host and walked on and went, "Oi! Normally it's the acts that die in here."
Jeez.
That's the only thing you can do.
Yeah.
At least he didn't piss on him.
Yeah,
That would have
piss
been
on
worse.
the
He was like, here, wait before you take him out there. Try this.
Fucking it. How did that? Oh, that would either murder or, I mean, I was going to say ruin the vibe. A man has died. It's going to be hard bringing that
If
back.
you were an actor,
Anyway.
I think
A man's just died and you're like, oh, I was in IKEA, by the way.
I think I would have come on there and would have went, there's been a murder. And just done a big game of Cluedo.
There must be more. There must be more than that one guy that's died in a gig. It must be.
Oh, it has to be.
Over here, there was a guy who was meant to do a gig. He was meant to do 7 minutes in the pavilion at the open mic.
I know who you're talking
And
about.
he was found dead 2 weeks or
Oh,
something.
he was an
before.
act?
He'd been going constantly to watch it, and then he decided he was going to do it, and he wrote 7 minutes of material, and before he went to go and do his first thing, he died. But what happened was one of his friends then got his ashes and put them on the stage and got up and done his jokes for him,
All right.
who had never done comedy before.
Yeah.
And it made the fucking newspaper. It made the fucking news all over the world.
Yeah. So that is a lovely story. Like, sad,
Yeah.
but somewhat lovely. Like.
Yeah.
Somebody
funny?
really didn't want him to do
Stand
that
up.
to himself.
Yeah,
What'd you say, was he funny?
he died. He died in his hole before he even done his fucking thing.
Maybe what it is that his material was so controversial that it changed the world. So somebody made a time machine, went back and killed him
Killed him.
before he ever became a comedian.
You'd be annoyed if the friend just butchered your jokes. You were just watching from heaven. You're like, man, hold for the laugh, you can't.
Yeah.
You
Fucked it
just
up.
know all the other comedians are watching it, going, "Nah, it's just a gimmick." Just a fucking gimmick.
His mate went and done it at the Fringe with the ashes.
That would generally every day at the Fringe murder. The guy dies every day.
What pop star or rock star sniffed their dad's ashes?
Oh, I heard this. Is it supposed to be Keith Richards, isn't it?
He would be one I would say. It was the sniffed his dad's ashes.
Mixed with anything or just
No,
pure
by
ashes?
accident.
By
like,
accident,
thinking
it
it was
was
something.
on the table,
Yeah,
and
it
just-
spells on the table, and they go, "Oh, it's covering cocaine anyway," and they sniff and thinking it was.
Yeah.
I know Tupac, when he died, his friends got his ashes, mixed it with weed and smoked it.
Right.
Which, you know, I mean, it's a nice gesture, but I'm not fucking doing that. If you die, I'm not smoking you, like.
I wouldn't smoke at all, no matter what.
Thanks, man.
No.
No, that's good. I don't want you to smoke me in any
It's the
capacity.
most New Lodge thing I've ever heard.
I would.
Smoking your dead mate.
It's what he would have wanted.
So it's not exactly the same thing. But you know, have you heard this thing? Where so you know that thing of physically ingesting another person. So like for the ashes.
Okay.
Right.
So you physically ingested another, and now they're in me, and they'll be with me forever. You know, that's the vibe and that. Have you heard this thing about people that eat the placenta
I've heard this,
when
yes.
they have a weigh-in?
Yes.
So you could see that, like the mother mammal would eat the placenta so that it's nourished to survive. You know, the animal kingdom. I heard of some people that went round to their friend's house after
And they all had it?
cooked them, and they all had a bit of it,
That's weird.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, it makes sense if if it's yours, it makes a bit more sense. I'm not fucking tucking into my mate's
Your
wife's
mates,
placenta.
yeah, innit?
I'd be like, I'll just get a Chinese. You go ahead. I'll fucking.
Yeah.
I'm not hungry.
Or at least sprinkled over the top of the Chinese. Like,
Just mix it in so you don't know. It's like a dog's fucking pill.
There
It's
is
just-
fucking weird shit that happens all the fucking time, like, but that's fucking grim. No.
Cannibalism.
Yeah, a wee bit.
it is.
Yeah, vampire fucking it's something to it. I'm telling you.
I could see you genuinely considering that too.
No,
You're like, nah, I'm not gonna be a cannibal.
I don't.
I
care.
might.
I've had a bit of me bit off, so I fucking know what it's like. Do you know what I mean? I had that bit off, so and watched the man fucking chew it. So it's not a nice thing. Like.
Where did it end up?
It actually ended up out on the ground. We thought he swallowed it, but a lot of other doormen and stuff came down and they got a car and they were looking for it. But the problem was it was like a smoking area and there was loads of cigarette butts.
Right.
And he had chewed it that much, it looked like a chewed up cigarette butt.
Because you can get fingers sewed back on again, can't you?
Yeah, but I
'Cause
mean,
them-
it was beyond that. It was chewed to pieces. Like.
Them Japanese gangsters, are they called Yakuzas?
Yakuza.
And they chop their fingers off, and now loads of them have become like, you know, they do it as a sign of how hard they are
Like
or whatever.
loyalty, devotion,
and now
yeah.
they're getting their toes, they take their toes off and put their toe on their fingers to rebuild the
hand up.
fingertips. Because now they're like businessmen or something.
It's mental.
This
Isn't
one
it?
guy just has a big thumb in the middle of his hand.
I have a real fucking thing with feet. I hate feet.
Feet.
Hate feet. And I went with this girl one time and she took her fucking shoes off and it looked like hands. Her toes were like fingers. I had never seen longer toes my whole life. And it freaked me out. And then I told all my friends about it. And the next time we were in a nightclub and she was there, they all went around to see her and they came around and went, "You're fucking right." She was wearing these big, remember the big sole sandal things?
Yeah.
And she's like a perched eagle. And she was like that. And then the whole nightclub, so that it spread. And then the whole nightclub was coming around to look at this girl dancing with these massive tingers, we call them. And she was a lovely girl. It was just her feet were terrible.
No, feet turn me as well. I remember when I used to be a weed smoker, I'd have to get my mates to roll me joints.
Do you not smoke no more?
No. But because of cerebral palsy, I can't make the rolling motion with my hands.
Right.
So, but I remember one of my friends got really pissy with me. They were like, "Nah, you're just being lazy. That's why you're not doing it." And I went, "No, I don't. I can't move my hand to make that motion." And he went, "I saw a guy on the internet doing it with his feet. You're just lazy." I was like, "One, I also have it on my feet. Two, do you want to fucking smoke of that? A fucking toe joint that I've just rolled?" And I'll tell you now, I don't have nice feet.
I had a mate that could walk down the street and roll a joint with one hand.
Oh, there's a brilliant bit of video of Fatty Arbuckle from an old film. You know Fatty Arbuckle,
Yeah.
the silent movie guy. and he's standing waiting for somebody. And I can't remember all the things he does, but he's doing like lots of wee tricks while he's waiting. And one of the things is he just rolls a cigarette in one hand, like really.
Like, fuck, it's unreal.
Brilliant.
You know what I mean? Could just do that with the joint. That's fucking.
Walking down the
impressive.
street, I'd never seen anything like it. He just was amazing at what he done. I couldn't even roll him with 2 hands.
Were you ever a weed smoker back in when you were younger?
Yeah.
What about yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not for years now.
Yeah, no, me neither.
Yeah. Who's got time? Who's got time to get fucking stoned?
See,
right?
when you're younger, it's fine. See, when you get older, you've shit to be paranoid about. Do you know what I mean? You're like, oh, fuck, I haven't done that, or I've worked tomorrow. When you're younger, you're like,
I never enjoyed it because it put me to sleep.
yeah.
I could never smoke it. So if we went to a party and I had a joint, I was getting the eyebrows and all shaved off because I was sleeping in the corner. Do you know what I mean? It was always a drug that just put me over.
Yeah, I remember.
Because there was also the thing here. So here, when I lived in Belfast in the 80s, it was hash. It was always hash.
Yeah.
And tobacco. And then now, I think people that are smoking weed, it's all like super skunk and stuff, isn't it? It's like class A's.
You can get all the madness that you
Yeah.
can have got. Like,
Oh, they've been working on it. Like, it's insanely strong.
Yeah.
I tried some when I was in Canada with Shane. And because at the time, I smoked at home, thinking, oh, this will be fine. I can handle weed. Fucking different gravy. Like, I was tasting colours. It was fucking 2 smokes of it, and you were just on another world. Like, people were talking to you, you're going...
I even going to Amsterdam to do it. Like, people go, I go to Amsterdam to do it. And I'm like, the last place I want to be is in a strange place.
It's the worst city to be stoned in.
Do you know what I mean?
Cunts are flying past you on bags, banging at you from windows. It is the worst place to be fucking tripping balls. Like, it is.
I always had a theory that if it was something that was natural, like grass
Yeah.
or mushrooms, you had to be in the countryside. You had
Yeah.
to be in nature. And if it was something that was manufactured like MDMA
You had to
or
be in a
acid,
nightclub or
you'd be in a
something.
nightclub.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely.
That's
Easy rule, isn't it?
It's
That's a great
rule.
rule.
It's a
That's
great
actually
rule.
fantastic, yeah.
Like, it'd be nothing I could imagine that I wouldn't want better than maybe laying in a tent or something out in a field somewhere and get stoned in the darkness. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Out in nature, when you've done shrooms, is the best fucking...
Yeah.
You look out and you're like, the sun is beautiful. Like, you actually... I sound so comfy, you actually do feel like at one with nature.
We booked
And you're
a wee-
tripping
a wee-
balls
a
on
wee
shrooms.
cottage.
You really do.
All right.
No, you fucking... You're like, I can feel the grass moving, and you actually can. It's amazing.
Have you seen that? There's a book out called Entangled Life, and it's about mushrooms and about how they're everywhere. Mushrooms and fungi are everywhere. And in forest, in old woodlands, the fungus is connecting all the trees together, and the boy calls it the wood wide web instead of like the world wide web.
Yeah.
But they actually have proven scientifically that if a tree's doing badly, the fungus will send more nutrients to it and stuff. And he puts forward the idea that psychedelics is what made us evolve.
Yeah.
Because there's still, it's not exactly the missing link, is it? But
Yeah.
Yeah.
that thing they go, why did people start cooking their meat?
Yeah.
Why did they start doing that?
Yeah.
What made them do that thing?
Go out of character.
And it's the mushrooms, isn't it, that they've eaten those psychedelics.
Like, there's
and
guys like Joe Rogan and stuff like that. They're convinced that it makes you a better person and all. You know, they're like, it brings you.
well, people are doing it now, aren't they? Microdosing them for mental health
Yeah.
reasons.
Yeah.
I was talking about it in another podcast. When I was texting, there was a guy, he got glue on prescription.
Glue.
Yeah, so he was a glue sniffer, and to wean him off it, they had a medical, less toxic version of this glue. There was only one chemist in Belfast that gave it out, and I was like, no way. And he was like, yeah, I'll show you. And he would show me the glue, and I'm like, that's insane.
Wow.
It makes it like ketamine used to be used for medical purposes, especially for people who had like arthritis or spasticity, because it makes your muscles loosen. So it used to be given with people who had that. They'd inject you with pure ketamine.
Yeah.
And you'd be
Apparently, there's loads of
fucking great
that.
time.
There's loads of this stuff now, like mushrooms and microdosing and like ketamine or whatever. And it's because it's not big pharma, because they can make big money out of that, because you can go and pick them yourselves or whatever.
Yeah.
So
They don't want you to know
yeah.
about it.
Well,
Yeah.
cannabis oil is one of them things. Like, a friend of mine's mum, she was really sick, and he got this cannabis oil, and it probably gave her an extra 2 years of her life. But what he says was, people say, oh, cure you and stuff like that. It definitely prolonged her life, but it also gave her an appetite. So she was eating where she hadn't been. She was sick from the whatever treatment they were giving her, and he says it definitely improved her life and made her last longer.
So apparently they knew that. They knew the benefits, the medicinal benefits of hemp right back. But in America, that was cotton, wasn't it? And so the other thing that would have rivaled cotton would have been hemp.
Yeah.
So at some point, like I don't know what year it was, but at some point they outlawed hemp as marijuana, and that covered everything, and it was to keep the rich cotton barons rich.
Wasn't there, and I don't know this for fact, so I can't give any specific details, but I remember hearing a guy who owned a cotton plant also owned either a newspaper or some form of media.
Yeah.
Ran a smear campaign against hemp to build up that opposition to it.
Yeah, that sounds right, don't it?
Yeah. Again, that could be complete shite.
Still doing that?
Yeah.
They're still doing that in the media?
Yeah.
So see now in comedy, it seems to me anyway, from my vantage point, that there's a lot less drugs than there used to be. Like it used to be every green room that you'd see cocaine. Every weekend there'd be cocaine on the table. And now it doesn't seem like that at all. It seems different.
I think there's still a lot of comedians that take cocaine and stuff, but I think the problem is now they're a wee bit worried about somebody taking a picture of them or a video.
Yeah, maybe. Social media,
I don't think it's just not as open now, because somebody will go, I don't like that prick, and they take a picture, and then they can send it, and then that would be them finished.
And a few, also with people always having their phone and Twitter, the amount of comedians you've seen getting fucking rolled off or getting high and writing some mad shit online, and that can fuck your career. That's what fucked Roseanne Barr. She took like 40 Xanax and started tweeting about Obama.
What was that?
She said, look, Kamala Harris looked like she was in the Planet of the Apes because she was Xanax. So I think my generation's so much more aware now of like, I can get in trouble for so much shit. So you kind of always need to be switched on.
Right. That's right, actually, when you think about it, because it used to be that, because I was talking about exactly this, that on the old working men's circuit, the working men's club circuit, there would have been really interesting acts. But when we think of that, we only see Bernard Manning, don't we? Or we only see them, the ones that were on the telly, because we never seen any of the really interesting acts that were on. And that was the same at the start of the alternative circuit, because nobody filmed anything. There's no film of anything. All of my years being a circus act, I've hardly any footage of it, because you didn't have a phone. You had to get a video camera, was like massive and expensive and high tech,
and you weren't carrying that around with you.
So maybe it's just that. Maybe people were a bit wilder. Because there was no chance you were getting busted.
Yeah. Whereas now it's even, you may not have to film yourself. If I'm on stage, I'm under the assumption 4 people have their phone out right now. So
I remember being I'm not going to name it, but I remember being when I used to go and do a famous comedy club in England, and he would pay me in cocaine.
Do you want to write it down first? So
I got to do a tour show there.
But that
the amount I'm selling, I'll end up in debt to him.
See the circus end of your work. Did you start doing that before you left Ireland, or
no? So I was here, and it was 1989, and I was on tour. I'd done a tour in America, on the east coast of America, as a circus performer, and then when I was coming back, I stopped off. My sister lived in Huddersfield. I stopped off in Huddersfield to see my sister. I was on my way back here to Belfast, and I went into Manchester to go to a juggling club, and I didn't know anybody there, but I knew friends of friends of friends, so everybody was like my friend's friend kind of vibe. And I wasn't really that keen to come back here to Belfast. I've been here for years. I wasn't that keen to not be in America. I just didn't have a green card in America, so I had to come home. I'd outdone the time I could stay, my visa. And I met a guy, friend of a friend, and this was September, and he said, I can give you work through to Christmas, stay and work with me till through Christmas. And then I still live in England. That was 1989, and I just stayed.
So you run away to join the circus, basically?
No, I was in the circus here. So
you're in the circus.
I was a juggler.
Right.
And then I was helping out in the Riverside Theatre in Coleraine. Yeah. Painting the backdrops, whitening out the board things that they put up at the back in a play, just blanking them out. And met a couple of people, Donal McHenry and Mike Maloney, and came up here and they had a community circus. And it was just meeting in, what's that called? Ormo Road Park.
Yes.
The park at the bottom of Ormo Road there. And they had there, and they did a juggling club in the YMCA down near where the City Hall is. And yeah, I could juggle. I knew how to juggle. I was looking for something to do. And I fell in with them and then started being a juggler. We got really lucky there's loads of funding money. Got taught by the best. First year I was doing that, got taught with like the top people in the world because there was loads of funding money in Northern Ireland for the arts. And yeah, it became a juggler.
That's where it came from. And where was your first gig, comedy gig?
First stand-up gig was the Little Frog. So I'd done comedy clubs, but as a comedy juggler. But the first time I did a stand-up gig as an actual stand-up was the Frog and Bucket in Manchester, which used to be in a little... now it's a big building, and they're now in there. I've just been interviewed for their book because there's 30 years. It's coming up to their anniversary of having it. But it used to be a wee tiny thing, 60-seater, and that was the first time I did stand-up, was in there, like probably, I don't know, 95 or something like that.
And even though you'd been performing juggling for so long, did you still get a bit terrified at the idea of just doing pure stand-up, or were you fucking buzzing for it?
No, see, to this day, right, so then my act that I used to do involved an 8-foot unicycle, usually juggling fire, and was dangerous and and often scary because different surfaces, and like sometimes you had to do it outside on cobblestones or something. It's genuinely scary. And in fact, the reason I did the first stand-up gig was because I'd broken my ankle doing circus stuff, so I was off work. And when I did that gig, and then there was a little circuit, that little circuit was, there were people there like Steve Coogan was still on it, and Caroline Ahern was still around, and Henry Normal was still on that circuit. And used to get, so when I was a circus act in those days, you'd get 250, 350 quid to do a set. And the stand-up used to get about 65 quid. But I valued that 65 quid more than the circus one. And I couldn't believe that they would give you the money, because it's such fun, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe. So see now, all these years later, if somebody pays me cash, I'm still going, oh, I can't believe that they give you money for doing it, because it feels like on a good one, it's like we should be fucking giving them the money.
Yeah.
Because the feeling you get, no, I get that.
Yeah.
Well, that's class, like, because even coming from like Cold Rain, like, you know, to go on and do what you've done.
Sure, there's Jamone as well down the road. Jamone McKeown went.
I think he was born in London, wasn't he?
Oh, he went to school with my sister. I only ever knew him from round the port. I think he was Port Stewart that they lived, and then he went to Australia, didn't he, and started doing stand up and brilliantly.
Yeah.
It just took off. And Jimmy Nesbitt would be the other. He's the actor from there.
Yeah.
Did you know him? No.
Only from when I was he was a couple of years below me. But he was a couple of years younger than me. He went to the Ernst, the posh school. I went to the secondary school, but we played rugby against each other sometimes.
Right, okay. It's mad, isn't it? It's just about wee time.
Always smart, yeah.
That you have them, and then you start thinking about people, and you go, oh, fuck, he was from there, and then...
Yeah.
Do you know about that thing that they say in America? You know the way Americans always think that we all know each other? We fucking do.
It's extremely
We're like
small.
3 people
Honest
away.
to God,
It's extremely small.
I was once in the Atacama Desert. So it's in Chile, and it's the driest desert in the world. It's on the other side of the Andes that doesn't get rain. It stops the rainfall, and it looks like this. You imagine the surface of the moon would look like, and me and my ex were there, and we're spending the night on bedrolls in sleeping bags in an old disused village that's made out of like mud huts. And I go to her, here's an empty one, like that. And it's a touristy thing. Here's an empty one. And a voice goes, are you Northern Irish? And it was a guy I went to school with. In the fucking Atacama Desert.
And he's like, Martin, you can't have this here. The housing executive gave me this one. But it's one of them. We were in America the first time we went in and met her uncle from Newark. And Andrew was like, everywhere we go, he knows somebody. And he was like, he's in New York now, he's not going to know anybody. And literally, like, 30 minutes later, we were sitting in 5th Avenue, and there was a guy digging the road, and I'm looking out the window at this thing, and next minute the guy's like, And he's the fucking earmuffs on, the big goggles on, and he's waving in the car. And Andrew's like, he knows you. And I turned around and I went, I'm looking. And he took off the mask and I could just see the eyes. And I went, Pierce. And he went, what about you, Paddy? I haven't seen you from school. He says, when did you arrive here? Me yesterday. Here he was. I have to get a drink with me 100%. And her uncle just turned around and went, I stand corrected. Jesus Christ. Like literally just in the car, there's a guy taking the road. Like, I went to school with him. It's just one of them things you just randomly meet people. And it's not even that. You meet people and then they know people. And then since I've done comedy, you know more and more people.
Yeah. Did you ever know that thing about where... So I always see this with English people because I live in England. When they don't know anybody that they went to school with, and they don't... So you remember there was that thing, Friends Reunited?
Yeah.
I was going, there's no point having that in Northern Ireland because everybody still knows
Yeah.
what everybody's doing. You don't need that.
A lot of people don't even leave their village or where they grew up.
Sure.
So you're still in that fucking place. You don't need that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a bit pointless to have it.
What are you like for time?
What's it like?
It's 9:15.
15:15.
Yeah, well, I have to get Martin down. How long have we been recording? Over an hour?
56.
That's great.
Oh, good.
Is it going all right?
Yeah,
Oh,
it was fucking great. Thank you for coming on,
Absolutely
man. Would love to have you back on
Yeah.
next time
Yeah,
you're about.
definitely. We'll pick you up right the next
Yeah, we'll go right, yeah.
and we'll get a longer one.
Yeah.
Yes, folks, thank you everyone for tuning in. It was great to have Martin on. Bit of crack. Could have sat there all night.
Yeah, go see Martin live if you ever can.
Have you got much coming up?
Just usual. So I'm not doing. I usually go to Australia at the start of the year, and I'm giving it a miss next year. So I'm mostly just gigging in Ireland and the UK.
If you go on Martin's socials, you'll see where he is because
Go
he
follow
normally puts
Martin
it up. And
brilliant.
absolutely brilliant act. Thank you, Martin, for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
No problem.
Thank you, man.
See you all later.
I feel electric when you go.